He just
Wait. I think we're on.
we are.
Oh, geez. Okay, forget it. Because I was going to introduce him. I'm fighting with him. I'm mad at him in a good way. In a good way.
Well, that narrows the list. Anyway, let's I have something today because, well, as we tape this, the Steelers go to camp, but then they'll do a whole lot of nothing for a couple days before they really get acclimated to the heat, and then they'll start really football practice. Do you think this has been a topic of debate among media members for quite a couple years now, and especially came to light during the pandemic when camp was at Southside? Do you think there's great value in going away to camp because so many organizations have gotten away from that and they just go to their facility, but the Steelers will have you think, and it might be true, that there's big value in doing a traditional old school high school kind of camp where you go away and you sleep there. What are your thoughts on that?
I know Mike Tomlin's thoughts, and I know at least what he said, and I know, and I can see the validity to that, where you lock out all the distractions. It's part of our culture for sure
Mm-hmm.
here, and I think it's the 56th visit to the Steelers training camp in St. Vincent,
Right.
right? And so I see that, but then the other side of me says, why? So probably the new modern me would say, let's use our facility, let's get acclimated, and go home every night. And I
Right.
think there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, like you're able to get into your own bed, you're able to use your facility.
Yeah,
You don't have to move everything up there.
yeah.
But I can't figure out if it's romanticism or it's practicality why they go to Latrobe.
Oh, I think it's both.
You
I
think?
think I think it's both completely. I think it's the culture. It's who the Pittsburgh Steelers are. The wear the short sleeves in minus degree temperatures. Never put a sweatshirt on. I mean, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers culture because it dates back so long, and it's we do romanticize that. We equate that with success. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's a straight line parallel to that, but no, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I'd stay right where we are. I'd stay right in our own facility. That's what I'd do.
Wow. Okay.
How
Well,
about
that's
you? Do you agree with that?
I probably would, but you'd get a lot of blowback from the fans
Oh yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. They enjoy that. There's big fan days, and yes, and I agree. But you could do that here too.
you could, but on a much smaller scale. There's not the opportunity for that many people to get down there. There's sponsorship opportunities in Latrobe. I mean, you know
Of
all
which
about
of
this.
which we participate. Yes.
Correct. Ford is one of the biggest sponsors of what's
Yeah.
going on in St. Vincent. So you have that, and I think they're kind of holding out at this point. It's almost this for me. They're holding out, knowing at some point they're going to be the last ones to do it. Like if all the places, and there's only like 5 or 6 left that still went to camp all at once, said we'll be done with this and we'll all do it together, we'll end it. I think the Steelers would get on board, but they want to be the
No,
last one.
there would be no chance of that, in my opinion. The Steelers would love to be the last man standing on
Agreed.
training camp. They really would. And they'll never change it, ever. It will define us beyond you and I. It will
Yeah.
define us. I agree with that. I do think so. Omar's got a lot of new school, but he's got a lot of old school in him too. So, so I'll transition real fast into my really serious mini debate with Ron Cook.
Well, let's hear it.
We passed in the hallway. It was a stop. It wasn't even a stop and chat. It was a walk by and chat.
Well, yeah, he's always a man on the go. He doesn't have a lot of time for
You never have
trivial.
time for me, Ron. I mean, you never have time for me. But the brief conversation was about where the Pittsburgh Steelers will finish. And he thinks I'm crazy, and I think he's crazy.
Okay.
I said they're going to win a division. I thought he was going to stroke out. I said they win the division. And
What did he say?
I said it to you. He goes, Richard, I got them finishing no better than 4th. And I said, Ron, you're killing me. And I mean, I think he was serious because I've seen some of his articles and he writes that. So we got to make Ron a believer.
That's no. He is the kind of guy, he would rather do a jail sentence than change his opinion. He could hold out
Oh,
and
that's
do a
fun.
jail sentence.
Oh,
That's how he is.
that's hysterical.
If he is of an opinion one way on something, there is no changing him. It's not happening.
Oh, that's really funny. I know people like that. I didn't realize he was one.
Oh, no. There is no changing him. I think that, I don't say the truth, but for me, my opinion is somewhere in the middle. They, I think they'll finish third.
Oh, well, that's not much better than fourth, sir. So, I'm gonna have to take on you both. But anyway, so what are your expectations from training camp? What do you hope to see? What do you think you'll see? What won't you see?
Well, from training camp, it's simple. I want to see trust in the young players that they're supposed to be trusting. I want to see trust in Broderick Jones. I want to see trust in Joey Porter Jr. And I want to see both guys not have a big sense of training wheels. You're supposed to be players. You're supposed to help us. You're supposed to help us right away. Get in there and be with the big dogs. Like, this isn't the Dick LeBeau Pittsburgh Steelers, and it's not the Pittsburgh Steelers of 15 years ago where you needed to sort of earn a promotion. In the NFL now, if you're drafted very high and you're supposed to be that guy, you get in there and play from day one. Like that methodology is antiquated to sit like the Troy Polamalu, sit around for a while before you get in there. I can understand it with quarterbacks, I can. But with a left tackle and with a cornerback, get in there and make them learn on the job and make them your number one guys. That's my training camp's about two people, Broderick Jones and Joey Porter.
Interesting. Not Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, because it's a much different camp right now. He's undeniably the number one guy on this football team. He's the quarterback. If he throws 10 interceptions, has a terrible camp in the preseason games. If he goes out there and lights it up, nothing is going to change about his status on the football team. It's just simply going to be about when the first game starts, what he's about.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's accurate. So then, what happens? What do you think about the preseason? Do you think it's necessary? I mean, what do you think about it?
I think it's necessary to formulate backups. I don't think a person like Najee Harris. I don't think a person. Kenny Pickett's interesting, but I don't think a person like Najee Harris or Deontay Johnson or TJ Watt for sure. I don't think they should play one preseason snap in a game.
Yeah, I don't know about not one, but I don't think they should either. I mean, I think you saw it with TJ. Didn't he get hurt in the preseason?
Yeah, and Najee did too, and it lingered in throughout the year.
And it just destroyed the whole season. But then again, I mean, that's what they do. So, if they don't get hurt in the third preseason game, they get hurt in the first regular season game. And they do have to come up to speed. The game's so fast. They have to come up to speed. I mean, limited, yes. No snaps. I don't know. That might be pushing it for me.
I'm okay with none. The Buffalo Bills coach McDermott has been synonymous with not playing his guys, and some of them 0 snaps. And they've had better success than a lot of teams out there. They've had better success than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like that tack. I like the way that it goes. And I just, especially Watt. Like, Watt is a one. What does he need to do in the preseason to show you he's ready? I mean,
exactly. Oh no, I agree with that. So you might be winning me over to your side of that. Yeah, you really might be, because so much of that also is selfish. The fans want to see these guys. We want to see them. We want to see them play.
I'll tell you what's not going to go on very long are 3 preseason games, because from a business sense, and you can speak to this as a business owner, the Roonies or the other side of it, whoever the other teams are that they play. Like this year, they only get 1 preseason game. The Roonies do. Some other organization's going to get 2 and some get 1. Teams are not going to stand for sometimes only getting 1 gate and other teams getting 2 gates. It's going to have to go to 2 preseason games or back to 4. They're not going to add any. It'll go to 2 preseason games. Pretty soon it's going to be 2 preseason games and 18 regular season games, because people will not stand for a disproportionate amount of the gate that goes to the teams.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you get that through the collective bargaining system. For the players' compensation if you do that. I think it's scaled that in a rotation that at the end of a 5-year span, you'll probably have the same amount of one gate, two gate for each team.
You would, but here's the thing. There's not as much of a gate for those preseason games. And I guess that would all proportionately probably add up. But
Yeah.
but here's what you have to do though. There's not as much of a gate, but you have to prepare your stadium the same way with security, with staffing, with parking, with all that. So it's going to go to 18 regular season games, I'm guessing as early as next year. Because they're saying if we're going to put on a show and we're going to open up our place and we're going to have a party, so to speak, it's not a dry run. We want to have a real one. And the players on top of it are going to say, if I'm going to risk being out there and I'm going to get amped up and I'm going to get ready for a game, make it a real one. I bet we see 18 games as early as next year.
Well, that's pretty aggressive statement. So tell me, what do you think our record will be?
9-8.
Okay.
Maybe 10-7, but 9-8, fighting for that last. Fighting at 9-8, they would fight for the 7th playoff spot. At 10-7, they might be able to get the 6th playoff spot. And there's a big difference. You don't want to play the number one.
What do you think it'll take to win the division?
Well, you definitely have to win 2 or 3 of your road games in the division to do that. You're going to have to beat Indianapolis. You're going to have to beat Vegas. You're going to have to beat the Patriots. You're going to have to win those conference games, the AFC
those are
games.
Big names. Those names don't scare me.
Oh, to make the playoffs is what I'm outlining. But in order to win the division,
make the playoffs, the record.
To make the playoffs,
yeah. What record? 9-8.
You'll make the playoffs at 9-8, I think, because I don't think the AFC North is that good. I think it's like the old AFC West. I think everybody's going to be diluted and not have a great record.
And what about winning the division?
12 wins.
And that's exactly where I am with Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they do that. I really do. I think they do that. But here's the key to this. For me, there's no leeway. There's fast start. You got to come out of the gate winners. You cannot sacrifice anything. You got to come out of that gate fast and make sure everything's in place. Like you said, your tackle has to start, your Joey Porter Jr. has to start, and they've got to play. They've got to play their ass off. And Joey Porter Jr. is a player. And
he's great.
Doesn't matter whether it's in the NFL or Penn State or Pine Richland or it doesn't matter where he is. He's a player. So
I'll tell you, I think the biggest stretch of the year is there's a stretch in through the heart of the season where they go to Ohio back-to-back weeks. They play at Cincinnati and at Cleveland. Those are 2 division games. They're 2 games on the road. You have to win both of those games if you want a real shot at the division, I think. Because winning those division road games are so – it's like putting money in your savings account, Then you can slip up a little bit. That to me is going to be vital, those 2 games in Ohio.
Exactly. I agree with that. But so this is like, how do you eat – if you put this elephant in the room, how do you eat this 800-pound elephant? How do you do that?
One piece at a time, right?
One bite at a time, buddy. One bite at a time. And that's all they can do. They can play one game at a time, and they will do that. Mike Tomlin, this year, he will shine. He could be coach of the year.
You think so?
He could be, because look what he's done.
Okay.
He would, right? So look what he's done. He brings in 2 rookies to start, right? And by the way, I don't see Deontay Johnson staying a starter long, okay? I think he'll get his first two games with a few drops, and that'll be it for him. I don't think you'll see him back. At least I hope that, and I hope I'm wrong, by the way. Again, though, remember, I cushion everything I say with only one thing, and the only way I'm wrong is if Matt Canada doesn't do his job.
All right. Well, no, I want to stop for a moment. If you're claiming that Mike Tomlin could be coach of the year, and it's not an outlandish claim, generally, if someone is coach of the year, there are at least 2 players on a football team that overachieve from where people thought they'd be going into the year to where their actual performance is. You tell me the 2 players you think right now
No,
will
I'm going to tell you.
overachieve.
I'm going to tell you 4 or 5. I'm going to tell you Kenny Pickett's going to do that. I'm going to tell you Najee's going to smoke it this year.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that Joey Porter Jr. I'm going to tell you Broderick Jones, and I'm going to tell you Pickens, George Pickens. That's 5. I think every one of them has the ability to hoist this team on their shoulders, and take it to the division champions. I really believe that.
I can buy you're prepared to answer that. I can buy it. Do I agree? I don't know. George Pickens for me is maybe the most important person on this football team, because we always talk about players from year 1 to year 2, and we get hung up talking about the quarterback from year 1 to year 2 so much. And to me, it's going to be about the receiver from year 1 to year 2.
But here's where I'm going to negate all of that.
Uh-huh.
Last year we had George Pickens. Last year George Pickens' ability was the same as it is today. He crazily caught passes. He had that ability. The only thing that didn't happen was we weren't throwing him the ball. And so nobody's going to ever help me understand that, because I don't get that. And so you still have the same George Pickens. You still have the same offensive coordinator. If you want George Pickens to perform, your offensive coordinator has to call his number.
That's true. But I don't know how up to speed George Pickens was on learning how to run NFL routes and how good he was at doing that last year. I'm not
better than his receptions indicated.
I agree to that. I'm not exonerating Matt Canada, but I do think George Pickens has some growing up to do.
Well, hopefully he's done it, because he has insane circus abilities.
Okay, I want to push this forward. Let's say they win 12 games and they go 12-5.
Yep.
And they lose their first playoff game.
Ooh, that would be bad.
Success or not?
They won't. No, bad. No, that won't be success.
See, this is why, and I said this yesterday on the radio, this is why the regular season is almost inconsequential to me. I don't care if they're 9-8. I don't care if they're 17-0.
I agree.
Show me a playoff win, and it's not a success.
Okay, I agree with that. You cannot call 12-5 success if you lose the first round. Cannot.
If they go 9-8 and win a playoff game, that's more successful.
It's more successful. I agree with that. So the record's not important. The only thing the record does is gives you a ticket to the dance.
And it gives you a ticket on where you're standing in line at that dance too.
Yeah.
You know,
and
who you're playing.
I like front rows and front lines.
You're a front runner. I mean, that's all you've ever been.
That was great. Did you say something on the radio last night? Where were you on the radio?
I was on from 2 to 6 on yesterday. Yeah.
That's great. I love you on the radio.
I love you on the radio. You were on the radio too.
I was. Did you listen?
Yeah. And then I heard everybody in your family's on the radio talking about weddings, talking about this, Florida.
My daughter out of an elaborate wedding. That's not going well.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I bumped into her not long ago, and I tried to talk her into an elaborate wedding because you only get one chance.
Oh, I hate you. I'm sending you the bills.
No, she was on the fence. I'll in full disclosure, she was on the fence. And she said, well, I've always wanted this, but then it's a lot of work. And then, and I said, just do what you think is right. That's what I said.
Well, thank you.
That was my advice to her. I said,
advice. I just wish you wouldn't have, but that's okay.
It feels like what she thinks is right is a guest list of about 2,500 people at this point.
Exactly. Exactly.
I know.
We have to take a mortgage out, for God's sake.
Oh, goodness.
Well, thank you so much. You're wonderful. I love you. Man, let's go Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm really starting to get into this.
Yep. We'll see how camp goes, and I will talk to you next week.
Thank you, sir.